Congratulations on buying your DIY paint ornament set. This is a great set to use for events in your chapter, whether it's a fundraiser or if you just want a prospective party. It starts out with a picture of what the ornament might look like when you're finished. And then on the back side, we have a set of instructions that tells you everything that you need to know about how to go ahead and paint the ornament. Next up, we have a stack of sticky labels. Believe it or not, we're going to use these sticky labels as a way to keep little pieces from wandering away, to make things easier to paint. It acts as a little mini palette for you, and also comes in handy when we're gluing everything together. Those of you that want to keep things a little tidy, we have a little disposable apron for you. There really isn't that much paint in this particular kit, but some of the bigger kits, the apron will come in handy. Speaking of paint, we have all the colors that you need for this particular kit, along with a little pot of glue. We've got a couple of sticks here that you can use either to help you get the pieces out of the ornament so that you can paint them. You can use it to take paint out of the pots and put it on your palette to make it easier to put on your sponges, or you can use them to mix up the paint. This we call our little ninja brush. We're going to use this for doing the gluing. So right now we're going to take the cap off and we're going to fluff up the bristles. We want the bristles to be nice and soft, and if you'll notice when you get your brush, they're pretty hard and it makes it a little pokey. But we want it to get nice and soft for the bristles, and then we'll just put that down by the glue to use later. Your ornament comes in a little sticky saran wrap or cling wrap. It's all wadded up on the front, and there was a reason for that. We're going to use that to remind us to put it face or back down on the table when we go to open it up, and we'll do that in a few minutes. We've got sponges instead of brushes, because brushes will quite frankly get way too much paint on these and it'll make it hard to do. This bigger one is for bigger areas. Some of the ornaments do have a bigger area to work with. Most of the time we're going to use these little brushes or little sponges that fit into the little paint pots and make things a lot easier. Then to finish things up, we've got a name, we've got a little piece of jute, we've got the bead for it, and then we've got a little snowflake to finish the ornament off. Now we're ready to do some actual painting. The first thing we're going to do is to open up our ornament. And we're going to keep it flat on the table. Don't pick it up quite yet. We're going to take our sticky labels and we're going to use these to keep track of little pieces. We're going to save the smooth backer because we're going to use that when we glue things together. So we're going to set that aside. And we have our sticky label here. The first thing we're going to do is fold in a couple of corners. And the reason for that is going to make it easier to pick this thing up and move it around, because you'll have areas that aren't sticky. So we're going to set that down aside for a sec. We're going to grab one of our little wooden pokers and we're going to get the pieces out of the backer here. So we're going to gently use this to pop the pieces out. You can use your fingers. If they give you any trouble, you can use the poker. And basically, I want to get all the little pieces flat on the backer so that we just have the frame easily. So be really careful with the eyes. And then we'll pop out the rest of the face. And here's our frame. We're going to paint that black. That's going to be the little trim piece that we put all our pieces into, just like a little puzzle. It'll get painted black, but we'll do that in a few minutes. Right now we're going to take all these little pieces and we're going to take the piece of sticky paper that we had, and we're going to take each one of these little pieces and put them on the paper. That way we know where they end up and we don't have to worry about them wandering off. We're going to take everything that's the same color and put them on the same end of the sticky paper. You've got enough sticky paper that we could actually do one per item if you wanted to. Take the little trim piece for his hands. Yeah, let's see, I need his mouth. Okay, now these are all the pieces that are going to be white. Then I'm going to just use the other end of this and use it for all the pieces that are going to be brown. His little face is going to be brown. And his shoulder. His hand. And his other shoulder and hand. Now we also have the name, and I'm going to do the name in white as well as if it was made out of the gingerbread frosting. Alrighty, we're ready to paint. I rearranged some of the pieces on my sticky thing a little bit and cleaned up the area, threw away my sticky wrap, and now we're ready to go. So first of all, we're going to look at this one. You can leave this as the backer as this color if you like, or you can paint just the belly part. If you'll remember on the picture, the only part that's showing is the belly. So if you wanted to, you could paint the belly, and we could do that by using our bigger brush, and we can dip it into the paint pot, but the bigger brush is a little difficult. Use one of our little sticks here, and we're just going to get some of the paint out here and put it on our mini palette. You're not going to need very much. And then we're going to dab our sponge into it. And you want to get most of the paint off of the sponge. That's why we're dabbing it on the paper. Then we're going to take our ornament, and for the big stuff, you're just going to make nice long strokes. Then get a little more paint if you need to. It's going to be more of a wash than a solid color. And you want to make sure you get nice long strokes so you don't get sponge marks. And I'm going to go up a little bit into the head to make sure that I got everything covered. So that's fine. So we're going to set that aside to dry. And now we're going to go ahead and start with our other little pieces here. We're going to start out with the white because the white is going to take a lot of coats, and it's going to take just a little bit more time to drying time because you're waiting in between coats. So once again, we're going to take most of the paint off of the sponge, tap it on here. So you don't want a lot of paint left on it. And then we're going to just tap on the pieces. And you'll notice that the brown is showing through quite a bit. If you need a little more paint, just tap it again. The idea is that you're not putting a lot of paint on at one time. If you do that, then what happens is the wood product absorbs so much paint that the pieces get bigger, which is going to be a real problem when you try to put them all together. Okay, so now you see what my first mistake was. I accidentally painted all the brown pieces white. So now we're going to turn this around so I can actually do the white pieces white. It won't make a difference on the others. The brown will cover that up with no problem. It's the wonder of doing video. And in this case, I really can't go back and redo it because I've already painted the pieces. So let's again dab off the extra paint. And you want really thin coats So instead of trying to do all of the white at one time, we're going to put a thin coat on it, and then we're going to come back and we're going to coat it a couple more times. Okay, and now we're going to do the brown one. We'll just get another sponge, get a little bit of brown paint. Now we'll get all the brown pieces. Now, some of our kits are going to be easier than others. This is probably the easiest one. So if you have young kids or if you have older folks that have a little difficulty with dexterity and who still want to participate, but it might be a little difficult, then this is probably one of the better kits for them. Okay, those are looking pretty good. Now we're going to let those dry, and then we can go ahead and get started on our black one. Once again, I'm going to stick it on a label. It just is going to make it a little easier to deal with. We're going to fold those corners down. And we'll just stick it on the backer. And once again, we'll get another black one. I could use the big one if I wanted to, and I may do that. A little bit of black paint over here on our palette. And just use a different corner. And we're just going to paint the whole thing black. You'll notice that I have a paper towel down underneath everything. Most of the paint's going to end up on the little sticky thing. It's another advantage of using a sticky thing. It's just the label. You just throw everything away when you're done. And I think we got everything covered here. Just a little bit more there just to make sure. Doesn't look like I missed any spots. So we'll set that aside to dry as well. We'll come back to our white pieces. Grab a little bit more white paint. Once again, dab it off. You always want to dab off all the extra paint. And we're going to dab everything one more time here. At least we'll see if we can get away with just one more time. You might need to do one more. This might be the time to go grab a snack. Let this one dry a little bit. And then come back and add one more coat on there. It really dries pretty fast, so you don't need to generally wait too long. And while we're at it, I might as well double check my brown pieces and make sure that they're all brown. Got a little piece over here that doesn't want to take the paint very well. Now, the nice thing on the gingerbread man is that if you're not exactly smooth with the brown, that's not a problem because it's gingerbread, so we're good. So we've got all the paint things cleaned up and put away. We're going to get into the gluing now. We're going to use our little ninja brush, which I put away, and it's right over here. And we're going to put just a tiny bit of paint on the back side of this. We don't want a lot because it's going to seep out everywhere. So we're just going to get a little bit of paint or glue on the brush. And then we're going to just dab at little pieces around here. We don't need a whole lot because, like I said, it's going to hold on pretty well. Now you'll be able to, the glue does dry clear and we'll be able to wipe it off on the edges if we need to, but just a little bit. The biggest problem that people have when they do these is they tend to use a whole lot of glue and then they get a lot of glue seepage. And that's where your biggest problem is going to be. You actually spend as much time putting the glue on here as you do painting the piece. And once again, forgive the fact that I don't seem to be able to see what I'm doing because I really can't. A story that I hear about one of my grandfathers is that he was an electrician and he actually had bifocals. This would have been, golly, 70 years ago. Bifocals that had the close-up lens at the top because as he was installing electrical work, it put the close-up lens where he needed it to be. And maybe I need to see about what kind of weird glasses I could get just to be able to make this easier. Okay, so now I'm going to attach these together. You can see I got a little bit of glue on the front. And then I kind of set it on the table and kind of make sure that the pieces are lined up. You can kind of feel it sideways. Kind of wipe any extra glue on the outside off with your fingers. And you can use one of the little sticks to get any glue on the inside if there's any globs of glue. Just the inside of the tummy because the rest is going to be covered up. Okay, so now we have that. Okay. This is where having the smooth side of your paper comes in handy because we can use that to press this down and we don't have to worry about marring the paint. That'll be good. Okay, so now taking our brush and we're going to fill in some of the spots. We don't have to fill in a whole lot of paint because these are going to be filled in. The pieces are going to stick in there pretty well, so you don't need to do a whole lot of glue in there, and you certainly don't have to fill the whole area with glue. Don't glue more than 2 pieces at a time though because it will start to dry on you. So we're going to put in the face. And the hair. Get a little bit more glue. I got some glue in there already for the eyes. You can see that that's in there. So I don't need to put any more in for the eyes. Eyes are a little tricky to get right in there. So they aren't perfectly round, so you'll have to kind of jiggle them around just a little bit to get them to go flat. And then we'll put our mouth in. And then once again, I'm going to use the smooth side of our label paper, and I'm going to use that to press everything in. By doing that, you don't get any paint from your fingers accidentally on the white ones especially. Okay. Now we'll do a little bit for one arm. We'll do one arm at a time. Yeah, it's a little tricky inside the trim piece here. Oops, there is a right and a left. So I've gotten the left. We'll put the other one in here. Oops, once again, I got the wrong side. Alrighty. And now we'll get the other hand. There we go. And then lastly, we'll add our name. We have a little snowflake, so we're going to stick our little snowflake on there. And you really don't need a whole lot on the name either. There we go. And once again, we'll use our little sticky paper left over and press everything down. If you like, you can put a book on it. The small ornaments like this usually don't need anything like that. So then our finishing touches is our little jute string and our bead. Just tie a knot in the end of the cord. And then the other end we're going to put through the bead. Okay, and take your ornament, and it works usually best from the back to the front. And put that through. And your ornament's all finished. Personalized ornament. And hopefully you did it at a paint party and people had lots of fun checking each other's ornaments out and see what you did. And the cleanup is pretty easy because you just have a bunch of label sheets that you're going to toss away, and glue that you could keep if you want, if you're like me, or the paint, and you are all set. Hope you enjoyed it.